What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is the part 2 of a story where Issei was a user of Infinity Curse technique. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more information. Now, let's get into part 2. Guo outskirts, 9:30 p.m. Issei was seen walking down the road with a bag full of food stuff that he had purchased for him and his friends. He gave a sigh knowing the shitstorm that had taken place due to many questioning him about his relationship with Gabriel-sensei, or as she is called right now, the blonde bombshell. Just another day. Issei spoke with a sigh. As he walked ahead, he started to walk towards the fountain he was in. This place. Issei mused as he sat down for a while. He yawned for a moment when he sensed a sudden shift in the barrier change. Issei narrowed his gaze and gave a smile as he spoke. Seems like another foolish fallen angel decided to challenge me. Issei spoke silently as he turned around to see a fallen angel. This one was described to be a middle-aged looking man with short black hair and dark blue eyes. His attire consisted of a pale gray trench coat over a white dress shirt with a matching ascot, black pants and shoes, a pair of black gloves, and a black fedora. Great, it's a pedophile. Issei spoke with a mocking tone. As Donaseek growled in response, he soon responded. My name is Donaseek, and today, I will be the one to end your life. Issei only got up from the seat and gave a smirk. He was certainly going to go home with another kill in his pocket. Issei looked at his opponent with a snarky grin as Donaseek threw two light spears, which were easily evaded by Issei as he appeared right behind Donaseek as he spoke mockingly. Let's play, Crow. Donaseek followed it up with a punch, which was easily evaded by Issei. Issei soon followed it up by dodging again, and eventually he grabbed the fallen angel by the coat and gave a side punch to his head, which made him flip and send him flying. He soon caught up to the fallen angel as he soon followed it up with a smack to the ground. He looked in anger as Issei only seemed to have a smile the whole time. And keep up. Issei spoke with a mocking tone as he removed his sunglasses revealing his crystal blue eyes, which made Donaseek gulp in fear. The one he crossed was the infamous The Honored One. No, it can't be, you shouldn't even be here. Donaseek shouted in horror as Issei spoke. So you recognize me, don't you? Issei only reached his level and spoke, seems like Cockdiesel told you about me, huh? No matter, it's time to end this and go home. Donaseek got up and started to fly off, but Issei reached to the air as Donaseek looked in horror as Issei spoke, goodbye. Issei pulled his head from his torso as the last look he had was horror. Blood was released from his lower corpse as it slumped to the ground. It soon exploded into feathers. Issei soon destroyed the head with ease as he sighed. Fallen angels are already on a low. Issei looked at the feathers as he continued, and idiots like you are the reason why this is the case. Well, no matter, it's your loss, after all you are nothing but weak. Yet you see yourselves as superior, it is honestly disappointing. Issei soon walked away, as he took the stuff on the bench, he reached home soon enough. Scene change. Issei's house, 10 p.m. Issei soon returned back home, as he spoke, I'm home. Gabriel soon came inside as she spoke, welcome back, Ice. Yeah, anyways, I brought the stuff. Issei gave the food to Gabriel and spoke, had a run-in with a fallen. And Issei did not complete as Gabriel was checking for wounds, as Issei spoke, I am fine, he did not stand a chance against me. And he is gone. But that isn't going to stop me from worrying about you. Gabriel retorted as Issei spoke, I know. Come let's get inside. Gabriel nodded as the two head inside where they settled down for dinner. Issei and the others were soon discussing about the situation that had taken place, which surprised everyone especially Rainer, as Siegfried spoke. So who was it that attacked you? Issei spoke as Rainer was interested as well. Issei then responded, his name was Donaseek. Figures, he was always a fanatic of Kakabiel. Rainer mused in annoyance, remembering that he was the most persistent in convincing her and killing them, as Jean added. So what is next? Siegfried added, Issei, mind if I join you? I want to take down Kalwerner as well. Sieg. Fine, you can come in as well. Siegfried nodded in response, as he gave a smile. He was certainly going to make that bitch pay for attacking him without any reason, just because he possessed a sacred gear. Anyways, so Gabriel. What's the situation on your end? Gabriel only gave a sigh to Jean's words as she responded, ever since you three left, many wanted to hunt Issei down or kill you. They know that Issei are the Red Dragon Emperor as well, it was really hard to deal with the situation. I can best describe it as, well, what you teenagers call, a shit show of epic proportions. Issei, Siegfried and Jean got the message, they understood the situation was pretty bad in heaven. Michael must be only making things worse. Rainer and Kuroka were also understanding the situation a bit, meaning it was very tense. Regardless, it was actually hard for me to tolerate them in any way, they were badmouthing you and hating you in every way. Gabriel spoke with slight sadness as Issei spoke with a shrug. Well, you can't help it, Gaby-chan, there will always be some ungrateful morons everywhere. But still. Gabriel retorted as Siegfried spoke. It's alright, Gabriel, let them speak, they are all bark and no bite. Sieg-kun is correct, don't think about them. Jean spoke as Gabriel nodded, as Issei spoke. Let's all eat up our food. It's kind of getting cold. The others nodded in agreement as they were having their dinner. It was just another regular day for them. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Gabriel seeing Chibi Issei with a new game, wondering what it is. The next day. Kuo outskirts, 9:30 am. Issei was walking across the Kuo town with his hands in his pocket as he soon heard a voice. Oh, I am such a klutz. The person who spoke was described to be a beautiful young girl with long blonde hair and green eyes. Her attire consisted of a dark teal nun outfit with light blue accents, a white veil over her head with light blue accents, a brown satchel slung on her right hip where she holds her Bible, and brown boots with black straps in an X-shaped pattern. She also wore a silver cross necklace around her neck. This was Asia Argento. Oh hey, you seem new around here. Issei spoke in Italian, having a gut feeling that the woman was Italian. Asia, recognizing him to be Italian, responded. Thank you, I presumed that no one would know about Italian, everyone only knows about Japanese. Asia responded in Italian, as Issei spoke in Italian. I was raised in the Vatican, so I am familiar with a lot of languages. Anyways, where do you want to head to? I wish to head to the church, Issei responded to Asia in the same language. Isseigojo, what about you? Me, my name is Asia Argento. Asia spoke in Italian, as Issei responded in Italian. I see, but are you sure you wish to go to the church? Yes, Issei, I want to. Issei sighed and spoke. Very well, I will lead you there. Issei wondered if she was aligned with the fallen angels. She did not attack him on sight, so that was a plus. He could sense her to be a human, he then thought. Could she be a pawn? Issei thought angrily. He still had to deal with two fallen angels here that were Kalawiner and Mitlet. This was what Rainer had informed him. But now, he had to see if she can be rescued or not. He had to see what kind of a person she is. So Asia, why are you here? I mean, you seem to be from Italy, so what brings you here all the way to Japan? Asia looked at Issei and responded in Italian. I was asked to come here, and it's a long story, so I doubt we have all day to do so, Issei. It's alright, I don't. Issei was once again cut off when a child was crying, as Asia rushed to it and started to heal the boy of his injured wounds. A green light was seen emanating from her hand. Don't cry, children like you must remain strong. She does not seem bad, she is kind. No ally of fallen angel would do that. Issei spoke to himself, with Drake nodding in agreement. This meant she was a victim or a pawn. He looked at the scene as the kid spoke to Asia. Thank you, sister. The kid soon went off as Asia turned around to see Issei as she spoke. Sorry, you had to see that. It's no worries. So that power. Asia nodded as she spoke. Yes, it's a gift I received from God. Asia trailed off in sadness, remembering more of her past, making Issei wonder what happened to her. He wanted to ask, as Issei soon realized they were near the church. He then spoke. It seems like we reached. Do you see the cathedral over there? Issei pointed to the one present as Asia nodded as she spoke. Yes, thank you, Issei. Issei nodded as Asia went off. Once she was gone away, Issei walked away knowing that she was another victim, a plaything for these fallen angels. He seemed to have an angered look on his face, knowing on why the church was abandoned all those years ago. He was aware of the Cleria Belial incident. He overheard it from a conversation between one of the exorcists named Tauji Shidu and another exorcist, as he remembered they were executed for falling in love. It was a love between an exorcist and a pure-blooded devil. This was one of the reasons why he hated the church elders and the Pope for being one of the orchestrators of the killings. He had no regrets killing the elders and almost killing the Pope, who unfortunately had survived everything. But he was left scarred and traumatized for life. In Issei's eyes, the church wasn't someone that should judge love, since in his eyes, love was not a sin, even if it was between a devil and an exorcist. He never followed the church rules in any way, as a result even the elders hated him. But he could care less, they got in his way and tried to execute them, only for Issei to wipe them out, without any mercy. Looking back, he also noted his and Gabriel's love to be similar to Cleria and Masayomi's own love. He was an excommunicated exorcist, and Gabriel was a seraph. These two shouldn't be together at all. Additionally, Gabriel shouldn't love, since this would cause her to fall, but Issei could care less on what the church thinks. After all, Issei will kill them if they bother him or try and harm him or his friends. Scene change. The Cult Research Club, 1:30 p.m. You should be careful around her, Ice. Riaz had spoke with a concerned tone. Earlier Issei had revealed everything to Riaz about the fallen angels. As he continued, yeah, I am aware, and from what Rainer said, only two are left. Alwerner and Mitlet. Riaz noted this down as she spoke. So, what do you plan on doing? Storming the base itself. Speaking of which, how is your plan with the marriage? Riaz could only give a frustrated sigh. She remembered Riser pushing the date of the marriage. She responded. You have no idea, Riser has been pushing the date to the marriage. Honestly, I don't want to marry him, yet he doesn't want to get the message. Issei nodded as he spoke with a cheerful tone. So want me to intimidate those old mummies again? Riaz retorted with an annoyed tone. No. Seriously Issei, what caused you to become this defiant? Riaz spoke with a sigh as Issei responded. Try dealing with old mummies from the church, you will soon see things how I do. Fair, anyways, you cool with me joining you in the fight against those fallen angels? Issei spoke with a shrug. Sure, the more, the merrier. Siegfried also wants to join. He wants to settle the score with Kalwerner. So that is something. Plus, if Asia is under danger, we can rescue her as well. Riaz noted this down, as she seemed to agree with this. She then spoke. Well, in that case, you wish to join us for a stray hunt? Issei shook his head and spoke. Not really, I will pass on that one. See ya. Issei teleported as Riaz could only gave a sigh again, seeing her best friend's antics as she responded. Fine. Scene change. Issei's house, 3:30 p.m. Issei was present alongside Gabriel as he was having a conversation with her. He asked Gabriel in response. So Gabriel, would you tell me more about this Asia Argento? Gabriel thought for a moment, never expecting her of all people to show up. She then gave a sigh as she continued. It's a long story, Ice. Hope you don't mind. Gabriel spoke with a sad tone as Issei took a seat and nodded. It all started when she was just a baby. She was abandoned by her mother and was raised by the church. She was raised to be a holy maiden due to her power to heal people. It was because she was the wielder of the sacred gear Twilight Healing. As a result, many looked up to her. This all started when she healed a small puppy who was beaten badly. Issei nodded in agreement as she continued. She lived a relatively normal life, but that was until she healed a devil. Issei grunted in response as he face-palmed in frustration. It was the same situation all over again as he spoke. Let me guess, the church didn't like that in order to maintain the status quo. Yep, you got that one right. The church wanted to maintain the status quo, and this caused her to be humiliated and exiled. Now, she is associated with the fallen angels, right? Issei only looked at her and spoke with an annoyed tone. Seriously, I feel like, in some cases, the church was a mistake. Gabriel was taken aback and felt even more sad. She was not surprised by Issei's hatred for the church, but no organization is perfect. However, at this point the church seems to be corrupted as Issei realized this and spoke. No, I don't mean that, I didn't. Gabriel cuts him off and speaks. I understand your hatred, Ice. You always did have problems with the church because of their nature, right? Gabriel gave a fake smile as she continued. It's alright, don't hurt yourself for my sake. It's alright, Issei. She soon teleported out of there in a flash as Issei explained. Gabriel, no wait. Issei looked in shock and surprise. He should have seen things better. Gabriel was always sensitive to the dark side of the church. He knew what he had to do. He was going to look for her at all costs. Scene change. Abandoned church, 4:30 p.m. Gabriel was seated at the top of the abandoned church as tears could be seen falling from her eyes. She always feared Issei hating her due to her being associated with the church, and his words, where he said, the church was a mistake, hurt her the most. She kept her hands on her face, weeping. She felt like Issei must be seeing her and her father's actions as a mistake. He was almost blind to the good the church has done, and she couldn't blame him in any way. She mentally cursed the church for being involved in some of the most heinous acts imaginable. She may be naive, but she is not blind. Ice? Please. Don't hate me. Gabriel spoke with utter sadness in her voice, as someone had spoken. I could never hate you, Gaby-chan. Gabriel turned around to see Issei with a solemn look. He had removed his sunglasses which he normally wore to hide his 6 eyes, since that would sometimes cause problems. Gabriel then asked. How did you find me? Gabriel asked with a surprised tone, as Issei spoke. Relatively easy, Gabriel. You are often found in cathedrals and other locations where the biblical God resides, when you are vulnerable and want to be alone. Additionally, I am aware of this place being the only cathedral in Kuo until it was destroyed. Gabriel nodded as she spoke. I see. Issei jumped to Gabriel and sat beside her as she spoke. Ice, would you leave me alone for a while? Nope, I see no reason to do so, and if you want, I will stay quiet. Gabriel nodded. There was no way to convince him in any way. They stayed like this for a short while as Gabriel asked. Ice, do you see me as a mistake? Issei was pale when he heard this as he spoke. I would never see you as a mistake, Gabriel. Gabriel looked at Issei as he continued. I am not going to lie, but you are like the light of my life. I would have hated the church for making me fight from a very young age. But you are the reason why my life was better. Yes, I had Siegfried and Jean, but you are the reason I won't completely hate the church, and I will always love and cherish you, no matter what happens. Issei spoke, as Gabriel started to tear up even more. She realized that Issei would never hate her, no matter what happens. Issei turned around to see Gabriel crying even more, as Issei soon came close to her and placed his hand on her cheek and spoke. You, Gabriel, will never be hated by me, no matter what happens. Gabriel soon kept her hand on his and spoke, I see. Forgive me, Ice. I should be the one to apologize. I never will hate you or see you as a mistake. I should keep my words in check. Gabriel soon gave a tearful smile as she spoke. Yeah. Issei soon pulled her closer for a hug as Gabriel melted into his hug. He rubbed her head and calmed her down. He really loved her and there was nothing that could change that. She knew that he will love her no matter what happens. She also wanted to help him, and she will help him remember his memories one at a time. She has been locating the seal in his brain and will help him remove that no matter what happens. They stayed like this for a while, as the two sat together watching the sunset with Gabriel resting her head on Issei's shoulder. They were enjoying the sunset as Gabriel spoke. Nah, Issei. Issei spoke while looking towards Gabriel and spoke, yes. What did you see in me? The first time we met, all those years back. Issei looked at her and spoke, that you are the most beautiful angel I have ever seen. Gabriel gave a smile as she spoke, I see. Time had passed when suddenly someone called out to them. It was Riaz as she spoke. Issei, I hope your Riaz had teleported herself to him, as she was surprised to see Gabriel and Issei having a moment as she spoke, hope I am not disturbing. No. Issei spoke as Gabriel got up and saw her worried expression as she spoke, is something wrong? It's Shirin, she Issei dashed to her and asked seriously, Riaz, what happened to her? Riaz took a deep breath, she knew Issei would act like this since he saw Shirin very close to him, as Issei spoke while assuring her, we will help you, but we need to know what happened to her. Alright, I will tell. Riaz spoke as she continued to recount, I had sent her on to complete a contract, but it has been an hour since she has responded. Both my peerage and your friends have been locating her, but to no avail. Can you help me? Is that even a question? Of course I will. Issei retorted as they all head out looking for her. Scene change. Unnamed warehouse, 8:30 p.m. The man was licking his gun as he pointed it towards Kaneko's head. He was a young man with short white hair and red eyes. As a priest, he was dressed in clerical clothing and often had a disturbing smile on his face. This was Fried Selson, a test tube baby from multiple genetic patterns at the Sigurd Institution, who were trying to create the true descendant of Sigurd, who can use Graham by gathering those who carries his blood. The children of the institute are made from different patterns of genetics. The institute tried to make Sigurd's descendant artificially, to which Fried himself was artificially created. However, when Siegfried was found, they abandoned all potential research and saw them as failures. When Fried realized this, he succumbed to madness and became a rogue exorcist that needed to be dealt with. There is sadly no hope for him. Kaneko was chained with chains that were enchanted with holy magic. Oh Devil Kun, you made a mistake of coming to my place and trying to perform your contract. Kaneko gritted her teeth in anger as she looked at Asia, who was also in a bad state for stopping him from harassing Kaneko. She glared at Fried in hatred and anger. Oh, don't be like that, we are going to have so much fun. Fried was about to touch her breasts which were exposed, however that was not going to happen as Issei shouted. How about you pick on someone your own size? Issei soon followed it up with a punch aimed at his face, sending the priest flying. He got up to see Issei with an angered expression as he cuts off the chains that were binding Kaneko. As he spoke, are you okay? Kaneko sniffled as she nodded. She was happy Issei was here for her. As she spoke, Asia. I know. Issei removed his jacket and spoke, here, wear this. I will deal with him. Issei turned around to see Fried recovering from the punch as he spat blood on the floor. However, just as he was madly charging at Issei, he was ambushed by both Siegfried and Jean as they spoke. How about you deal with us first? Fried gritted his teeth in anger, knowing who exactly he is. He was the reason why he was deemed as a failure. You damned bastard. Fried shouted in anger as Siegfried only slashed in response in the stomach. Siegfried spoke towards Jean and responded, I will deal with my brother, protect Asia. Leave it to me. Jean spoke as she looked at Asia's condition, gritting her teeth in anger. She headed outside with her. Issei soon looked at Kaneko, who nodded as she also headed outside with them as well. Issei and Siegfried were looking at Fried as Siegfried remembered on finding out about the Sigurd Institution which was disbanded. Gabriel was not aware of this at all. She was shocked when she was informed on what happened and dealt with the ones responsible swiftly and firmly by excommunicating the ones that created the clones. She tried her best to save one of the clones as the other like Fried was insane or were killed off. Is that all? Siegfried was clashing blades against Fried, with Siegfried using nothing and Fried using a light blade, as the former was overpowering the latter with ease. Issei decided to not intervene as this was his fight. You were the reason I was deemed as a failure. A fucking failure. And I will make you pay. Siegfried could understand his pain as he responded. The church ruined both of our lives, Fried, and several others. The Sigurd institution was a mistake. It is gone for good. My own childhood was stripped away from me because of the church. They saw me as their descendant and took me away from my mother. They made me fight endlessly against devils and other supernatural beings. Siegfried tried to reason, but Fried was not having anything as he kept clashing with Siegfried. I don't care anymore, die Siegfried. Fried clashed against Siegfried, who only responded by slicing off his arm completely. Fried screamed in pain as Siegfried spoke sadly. I don't want to continue this fight, Fried. Please, stop this. Fried, however, only glared at Siegfried with anger and hatred. I will be back, Siegfried, and I will destroy you. Fried threw a flash grenade with his free hand, causing him to escape. Siegfried could only look down in sadness, and he was glad the institution was disbanded for good. Hey, you are not to blame for their sins. Siegfried could only continue to look in sadness as he spoke. Had I acted quickly, none of this would have happened. Siegfried spoke as he continued, so many lives ruined only because I was revealed to be his descendant. I hate myself for being responsible for bringing despair to so many lives. Issei only kept his hand on his best friend, he still blamed himself for the Sigurd institution and their actions. He then spoke, realizing that there was no point in staying here. Anyways, we should get out of here, and Issei was unable to finish when suddenly two light spears were aimed towards them. Issei acted quickly as he used infinity to block the attacks as the spears dropped to the ground, dissipating. The two attackers soon revealed themselves as Siegfried lost his sadness and became angry as he recognized Kalwerner. She was a tall and buxom woman with brown eyes and long navy blue hair that obscured her right eye. Her attire consisted of a maroon trench coat-like top with a wide collar, a matching miniskirt, and black-heeled shoes. The trench coat top was open at her chest, giving view to her breasts and cleavage. She also wore a gold necklace around her neck. She appears to wear a white shirt underneath her top, but it can only be seen from the bottom. The second attacker was Mitlet, who was described to be a girl with blonde hair, which was styled into twin tails and blue eyes. She wore a gothic Lolita attire, which consisted of a black dress with white frills, a large black bow on the front, and a green jewel embedded on the collar, white thigh-high socks, and black shoes. She also wore a large black bow on top of her hair. So it seems like you have taken the nun back. I would advise you to hand her over before I make you pay. The one who spoke was Kalwerner, as she turned her attention to Siegfried and spoke with a growl. And you will pay for intervening in goals, boy. Kalwerner spoke with a growl, as Siegfried had a smile as he spoke. I am glad I pissed you off. Siegfried then continued, honestly, your skills were beyond pathetic, and we already killed 4 others before you. Kalwerner was ready to put this arrogant man in her place, as Mitlet stopped her and spoke. Worry not, we will handle them. Issei soon stepped forward and spoke, who must you be? The blue bombshell here is Kalwerner, what about you? Me? I am glad you asked, human. My name is Mitlet, the most super duper fallen angel. Mitlet spoke with a bow, as Issei mused with a grin and asked Siegfried. Hey Sieg, why are all these fallen angels such vixens? Siegfried shook his head and spoke with a grin, can't say, they are meant to fool humans like us into loving them before stabbing us in the back. Plus, they have got nice proportions on their bodies, especially the one in blue hair, shame we got to kill her. Kalwerner had an embarrassed look at what Issei was responding, as Mitlet glared at him for not even complimenting her. Of course, a pervert like you can see that. Makes me wonder how you restrained yourself when you went on that date with Rainer. Siegfried's words made the two girls furious, seeing her as nothing but a traitor. Kalwerner glared at Issei with anger and hatred, since in her eyes, she was nothing but a lowly pervert blessed with an amazing sacred gear. I guess, I am quite good at controlling myself, but regardless, shall we begin? Issei spoke with a grin, as Siegfried spoke, you needn't tell me twice. Both the boys decided to dominate their opponents, as they shouted. Twice critical boosted gear. Both shouted as their gears appeared. Issei had a red gauntlet on his hands, as Siegfried had 2 draconic arms that came from his back. Siegfried brought out Nothing and Balming, as he decided to bring 2 more swords, they were Dainself and Turfing. Dainself was a demonic-looking saber that has a darkish purple color, the hilt appears to resemble a demon's wings on the right side, a horn-like guard pointing downwards, a jagged black blade that has 3 reddish diamond-shaped jewels embedded inside of the blade near its base, 3 protrusions along the edge. A portion of the blade pointed upward in front of the 3 protrusions and a curved tip. while turfing long double-edged sword colored all black from the grip handle to the blade, with 4 green diamond-shaped patterns on the center and bat-wing-shaped crossguard. The two had activated their sacred gears, as the 2 fallen angels were fearful, knowing what the Red Dragon Emperor is capable of. The boys did not want to defeat the fallen angels, they wanted to crush and dominate them in every way. Midlet tried to run away as Issei reached close to her distance, while the boosted gear had announced twice. Boost. Boost. No, please have mercy. Issei only looked at her coldly and spoke, did you have any mercy torturing Rainer? And killing humans? Goodbye. Issei generated a small energy blast of red repulsion and used transfer on it as it obliterated Midlet without any trace. The last thing the fallen angel had was a look of pure fear and despair, knowing she was going to die tonight. The whole building's glass was shattered and several locations were destroyed by the sheer power of the magic blast. Disappointing. Issei spoke, as he hated fallen angels like her, as he saw Siegfried easily overwhelming her with ease. Siegfried generated a huge ice pillar that froze the legs of Kalwerner, who was flying off to safety as she was unable to move. In her fear she threw 2 light spears, as Siegfried stopped it with turfing. He soon reached her level as Kalwerner wanted to beg for mercy. Siegfried then spoke. This is what you get for attacking me, goodbye. Siegfried brought turfing and nothing and sliced in an X pattern as he decapitated Kalwerner's head as her head soon fell to the ground killing her. She exploded into a flurry of feathers as they deployed their sacred gears. Issei then spoke. Seems like we are done here. Siegfried nodded as he spoke, yep, you got that one right. Scene change. Issei and Siegfried headed outside as they are greeted by Gabriel and the rest as Rainer asks. What happened? Issei spoke as he revealed some feathers to Rainer which shocked at her first, but soon changed into apathy, knowing that her so-called friends must have provoked the two and challenged them causing their demises. I see. Morons. Rainer muttered in response as Gabriel asked. Are you sure you wish to join Ria's Gremory? Asia nodded as she spoke, yes, I don't mind joining her peerage Lady Gabriel. I see. Well Rias, please look after her, okay. Rias nodded as she spoke, I will Lady Gabriel. And Issei, thank you for looking after my sister. Yeah, and you did keep your promise of letting us meet her. Kuroka spoke as she pulled her sister in a hug, with her returning the same. Issei rubbed his head and spoke. I just wished it was different, Kuroka. Kuroka shook her head and spoke, it's alright, Ice. Anyways, let's head back, the fallen angels here have been dealt with for now. Ria spoke to everyone as they all nodded in agreement, they headed back to their homes. Not knowing a certain blue-haired person was spying on them. Scene change. Fifth Heaven, Vatican, 10:30 p.m. Michael was looking at some brainwave patterns. It was a special device that would look into the brainwave patterns. These brainwave patterns belonged to all those people that still believed in God and had faith in him, very high faith. He was noticing where Issei was, this was due to the brain having memory or recollection of seeing images that were in the past. So far, he was failing to see any images of Issei anywhere. Damn it. Michael cursed underneath his breath trying to locate him in any way. He soon found a brainwave pattern that had belonged to a Catholic in Kuo Academy. He had a small grin in his face as he spoke. I finally found you, Issei, this time I will find a way to take you down for good. Michael spoke as he had to wait for Dulio or Griselda to come back since he couldn't do this work on his own and had to send someone else to do his dirty work. Unbeknownst to him, a ring on his left hand was being affected at what he was doing. Riaz was working on her papers. A few days have passed since Asia joined her peerage. She was finishing up for the day as suddenly a magic circle opened up revealing Surzic as Lucifer himself. He was described to be a male version of Riaz. He was a handsome man who seems to be in his early 20s. He has shoulder-length crimson hair and blue eyes. He wore traditional Mao attire. I hope I am not disturbing you, Riaz. Riaz kept her papers down and responded, not at all, brother. So what brings you here, anyway? Surzic spoke for a moment, I have some good and bad news. What should I begin with? Riaz had a feeling on what the bad news was, as Riaz had responded, start with the good news first, big brother. Okay, first I was able to locate where Kuroka's diary is, and Ajuka has been reading and analyzing its details to find out what is going on. Soon enough, we should be able to find out what is going on, Riaz. Riaz nodded in happiness, soon her name will be cleared. Riaz then spoke. And from what I know the bad news is Riser, right? Surzic gave a sigh and spoke, you are right on that one, Riaz. Soon enough, Riaz. You will be forced to be married to Riser Phoenix. I am sorry I tried everything in my power to stop him. But I couldn't convince the elders. Riaz widened her eyes in horror as she asked. How much time I have? Riaz added, I presumed I had time till my college ended, right? I am afraid not, he wants to marry you right now. Riaz sank back to her seat as she spoke with horror, this can't be. Surziches looked at Riaz sadly, he was not able to do anything. He couldn't even postpone the date due to his own parents, especially his mother approving for this. He spoke with a sigh, I am sorry Riaz. No, it is alright big brother, you tried your best. You married for love, while I don't think I will get that privilege. Surziches could only look helplessly, as Riaz was right in every way. He married Grafia for love, while she was stuck with someone like Rizer. She soon spoke, while recounting herself. Brother, if you don't mind, can I speak to you about something? Although you need to wait, I need to recompose myself for a while. Surziches nodded as he watched Riaz walk towards the bathroom, she needed to recover herself from the news she had received. A few minutes have passed as Surziches took a seat on the couch, he realized that Riaz was taking a bath. He clenched his fists in anger at how callous the devil elders were towards the female devil population, seeing them as nothing but breeding stocks. Soon enough, Riaz came outside and Surziches asked. How do you feel? Riaz shook her head and spoke, I am not going to lie, not better. Surziches could only nod sadly. Anyways, I wanted to speak about the fallen angels, the one in charge of them in our territory is none other than Kakabiel. Surziches took this into account as he spoke, the angel of stars, he is the one that is present in Kuo. Yes, brother, he is the one responsible for the attacks on my territory, Issei has volunteered to take them down, and has successfully taken down 3 of the fallen angels, while his friends have dealt with 3 of them as well. Worse, is that, we are not even close to Kakabiel's locations. Surziches nodded in assessment as he continued. Did you at least find out his purpose? Riaz nodded as she continued, yes, I was able to find that out, his intention is to restart the Great War centuries ago, he wants to achieve this by killing both me and Sona, and find a way to anger the angels as well. Surziches narrowed his gaze, he was stoic, but he was furious that Kakabiel wants to go after his younger sister, as well as Seraphol's sister as well. He knows that there would be without a doubt a war if this happens. A growl could be heard from Surziches' mouth as he spoke. That bastard. Riaz spoke in response, brother, what should we do? I will contact Azazel and inform him about this, but how did you even get this information? Did you? Riaz shook her head and spoke, no torture, brother, I got this information thanks to one of their subordinates that is now on Issei's side, her name is Rainer, she revealed everything to him, and he did so to me, and now I was going to contact you, when you came to visit me. She is living with Issei. Surziches became surprised, as he spoke with a laugh soon enough. I see, well I am surprised, all that remains is an angel remaining in his house, and then his house will be a perfect example of an alliance. Surziches spoke with a cheerful tone, only for Riaz to turn her gaze away, as he is pretty close to the truth, all 3 species are living in his home. She promised Issei to not reveal Gabriel in his house. Speaking of angels, I wanted to ask something Riaz. Surziches spoke with a more calmer tone, as he responded, why does Issei have so much hatred of Michael? Riaz widened her eyes, even she did not know why Issei hated Michael, when she asked him, even he was not aware of why he hated Michael. He just did. Truth be told brother, I honestly really don't know. Surziches became wide-eyed as she continued, even he doesn't know why he hates Michael. He just does. So you're telling me that even Issei has no clue of his hatred? Surziches asked, to which Riaz nodded and responded, yes, even he has no clue of his hatred, all he does remember, or more accurately his first memory was when he met Gabriel, when he was 6 years old, before that, it is all blank. I see. Surziches spoke with understanding as he added, well then, I will be taking my leave, Riaz, let me know if there is anything else that he does. Riaz only nodded as Surziches soon teleported away, once he was gone, Riaz knew what she had to do. The mere thought of doing it disgusted her, but she was desperate as she teleported to an unknown location. Scene change. Issei's house, 10:30 p.m. Issei was seated on his bed, playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, as Gabriel was curious on the game, she never experienced video gaming before, due to her work, she either went on missionary-related stuff or to handle the Heaven office. She watched as Issei played a green blade-wielding character slicing off against a red crossguard-wielding blade characters. So Gabriel, what do you think? Gabriel thought for a moment and responded, I like it. Honestly, I never thought modern technology in gaming would become this good. Then you will love the more recent ones. Issei spoke as he was about to continue, but when a magic circle arrived Issei paused the game. Upon closer inspection it was Ria's Grimoire circle, as she appeared and turned to Issei. Issei, I want you to take my virginity. Riaz declared, leaving Issei and Gabriel stunned as Issei spoke, huh? Please, I beg of you, do it. I don't mind. Issei vehemently denied it, the mere thought of doing it with her disgusted the both of them. Then all of a sudden why would she act like this? She was never to act like this, in the 3 years they have known each other. No, I refuse to do so, you and I both know that this is not right. Riaz shook her head as she spoke. Why? Am I not beautiful in your eyes? Please, I beg of you. Issei looked at her and sighed. He knew she was desperate as he asked, let me guess, your marriage is preponed, right? Riaz became wide-eyed as she spoke. How did you know? Just a hunch. I know you, Riaz. The mere thought of doing it with me disgusts you since we are best friends, almost akin to siblings. I knew the only one that wanted to do it with you is Riser, and you told me that you despise him. I know that you only want to do it with the one you love. Riaz almost became teary-eyed. She knew how much Issei cared for her due to this. They may fight like cats and dogs, but they will always have each other's back and will care for another. Issei pulled her into a hug as he spoke. It's alright, let it out. You shouldn't worry, if anything. I know what you are going through right now. Your life would be a living hell once you get married to him. Same goes for your peerage. Your only option at the time was to stop this marriage was to make me take your virginity. That way, with you being tainted you may suffer humiliation, but your peerage would at least be safe from Riser. Riaz cried onto Issei's shirt as he rubbed her back, calming her down as she kept speaking. I am sorry, please forgive me. Issei kept assuring her that everything will be fine. Gabriel watched with a smile, as this was the Issei she knew, although she hated what happened to Riser, knowing how desperate she is. She did not speak a word as she watched the scene with a smile. Moments later, Riaz sniffled as she sat down opposite of Issei as she asked, what should I do now? Well, we will find a way. You know the option to intimidate and maybe kill some elders still remain. Riaz shook her head and spoke, I need to fight this myself, can't rely on you always. Issei nodded as she turned around to see Issei playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 as she spoke, you seem like you have no job now, eh? I was just showing her some video gaming, and Issei was unable to continue when another magic circle showed up as the person had spoken. Doing this, Riaz I am so. The woman trailed off to see Issei, Riaz and Gabriel sitting on the floor. The woman was Grafia, who is a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous body, appearing to be in her early 20s with back-length silver hair that features a long braid on each side with small blue bows at the ends, while the rest is let down which ends in twin braids and silver eyes. Yo Grafia. Wanna have a talk? We were just having a small heart-to-heart. Grafia turned to see Gabriel and sensed her as a seraph, horrified to see a devil and an angel in the same room. Before she could act, Issei spoke, worry not, she is my girlfriend. Gabriel nodded in agreement as Grafia was left stunned by this reveal. She couldn't believe an angel is his girlfriend. She was in a complete daze as Issei waved his hands and spoke, yo, G, are you there? Grafia snapped out of her daze and spoke, Issei. Before Issei could react, she grabbed Issei in a chokehold as she spoke, I hope you have a good explanation about why a seraph is living in the same room as a devil is. Issei kept tapping on her shoulder as he spoke pleadingly, let me go, I will explain everything. Riaz gave a small chuckle seeing this, as Gabriel did not know what to do. Issei did not fight back against her, and she did not understand what relationship they had. Time has passed, as Grafia settled down, Issei explained to her everything as Grafia including what had happened a few minutes ago, as she soon spoke, I see. So she is very close to you even when you were a former exorcist. Issei nodded as he rubbed his head and spoke, yeah, just how it is. And Riaz, you knew about this? Riaz nodded as Grafia added, Riaz, I understand you care for your friend, but will you be sure about being alongside her? Grafia was worried about her sister-in-law, afraid that she won't be able to handle this level of holy magic that would be aimed at her. She knew Issei cared and cherished her a lot, but she was afraid that her sister would end up dying, as Gabriel spoke with an assuring tone. You needn't worry about her, Grafia, I have already mastered my way of controlling my holy aura, and nobody can sense or experience it even if they wanted to. She is safe, and I have no intention of harming her, my only intention is of being with him, that is all. Grafia nodded, as she knew that someone like Gabriel wouldn't lie, lest she ends up falling. She then spoke. Very well then, but I need to tell Lord Surziches about this. Riaz wanted to speak as Issei spoke, you can tell him, that is fine. Issei, are you sure? Issei nodded and spoke, it's fine, but Grafia you need to tell everything what happened between me and her, okay? I will. And I don't mind her being with Issei, so long as she takes good care of him. Gabriel nodded as she spoke while pulling Issei towards him, worry not, Ice is in good hands. Grafia nodded, albeit this time she has a smile, as Riaz asked, speaking of which, who sent you here? Their brother, father and elders, the former two sent you knowing what you would be doing. Riaz nodded as she spoke, I think I should get going, he would still need me, right? Yes, and Issei. Riaz turned to Issei and spoke, thank you. Issei nodded as Riaz soon went with Grafia as they watched her leave. The couple soon decided to rest for the night. Scene change. Surzich's room, 11 p.m. You're kidding, right? Surziches exclaimed with surprise as he continued, a part of me hates it when I am right. I am at least happy though. Surziches could only smile as he responded, "You are happy that Issei finally has someone to take care of." "Maybe." Grafia mused, she was wearing a nightgown instead of her standard usual maid outfit as she spoke. "Besides, I am not going to lie, that house has a devil, a fallen angel and a regular angel. Isn't that a dream come true?" "Yep." Surziches soon got up and sneaked behind her and put his arms around her waist, causing her to get startled as she spoke. Surziches. "Not here." "Come on Grafia, nobody is watching us." Grafia was pulled closer to him as she had a red tint on her face. She soon relented as she spoke. "Fine." Grafia soon melted into the hug. She could sense his tiredness, which used to happen due to his duties as a Satan can be really tiring. They stayed like this for a while. As Grafia spoke, "We should head to sleep, we can continue this in the bed if you want." "Sure, anything." The two soon went to the bed to have some sleep. She could sense how tired Surziches gets with this job. She may be strict and will make sure he fulfills his duty, but she could see how much taxing this job can be. She made sure that she will help him in any way she can. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Issei playing the game, not knowing someone was watching him. The next day. Issei's house, 10:30 am. Issei and Gabriel were also sleeping, as Gabriel soon opens her eyes, only to see Issei using her breasts as a pillow. He was cuddling her like holding her, fearing to not let go. She, at first blushed, but soon she had a smile, as she spoke. "It seems like you have barely changed." Gabriel was rubbing his head and calming him, almost akin to a mother doing it to her son. She loved him a lot and didn't mind. Issei soon got up and looked to see Gabriel rubbing his head, as he wanted to get up, but Gabriel did not let it happen. "No, don't Issei. I know you like this. The way you were, you can stay." Issei spoke in response, "But what about your—" "I am not falling. You can see it, can you?" Issei nodded to Gabriel's words as she spoke, "You can stay like this for a while, ice. My ice." Gabriel cuddled him even closer as he soon melted into her hug. Gabriel closed her eyes and rested for a while. She had a smile. After a few minutes, they decided to wake up as they were greeted by the rest of the group. Siegfried then spoke, "So what's the plan for today?" "Well, I believe we will be going on a hunt towards a devil." Siegfried was surprised by this as Kuroka asked, "Who are we talking about?" "Riser Phoenix." To put it in short, he is probably wanting to marry Riaz. "I take it you know what will happen next, right?" Kuroka nodded as she started to hiss like a cat. She was livid knowing what Riser would intend to do with her sister. Issei knew her anger and spoke. "Worry, not Kuroka." Kuroka turned to see Issei, with a cold gaze as he spoke, "I am going to teach him a lesson that he won't forget." Kuroka knew how much Riaz and her peerage meant to Issei. Gabriel spoke while keeping her hand on Issei as she spoke, "Ice, I know you are angry. But I don't want you to get into trouble." "I will be fine, Gabi-chan." Issei turned to Gabriel as he continued, "Besides, I don't intend to kill him in any way. I will make him remember me, well." Siegfried and Jean soon responded, "Issei, mind we join you for this one?" Jean asked as Siegfried spoke, "I would love to see the effects of his immortality." Issei looked at his friends for a moment and gave a grin. "That is my duo, I believe you two know what to do, right?" The two nodded as Siegfried has a grin on his face, while Jean had a smile. It has been a while since they have gone on an exorcism mission like this, where they drive out devils and humiliate them. It is up to them when they kill them. Rainer and Kuroka looked at them stunned. "Oh dear." Gabriel muttered, having a wry smile on her face, knowing how much the trio can get when they want to humiliate or torment someone. "What is going to happen?" Rainer asked as Gabriel responded, "Riser is going to experience the most humiliation any devil could ever imagine." The two nodded as they watched the trio start to plan on what is going to happen next. "Gabriel, are you not going to join us?" Gabriel shook her head and spoke, "No, I can't. I have to deal with him." Issei nodded in understanding as he spoke, "Give me a call if things go south, K?" Gabriel nodded in agreement. Scene change. The Cult Research Club, 1:30 p.m. Issei, Siegfried and Jean were all in the club. They were waiting for Riser Phoenix to show up. Grafia was also present as well alongside Riaz and her peerage. "So President, why are we all here?" Kiba asked, to which Riaz spoke, "I have some news. Everyone, I am." Riaz couldn't continue as a magic circle opened up, revealing several flames that were released. It soon revealed a tall and handsome young man in his early 20s, with short blonde hair and dark blue eyes. His outfit consists of a burgundy blazer with gold embroidery on the right with matching pants and black dress shoes. Underneath his open blazer is a white dress shirt that is not fully buttoned, just one button short, giving a slight view to his chest. "Great, we now have a grilled chicken, so he is Riser Phoenix." The Kendo nodded as Issei noticed the disdain and anger in her eyes. Issei looked at Riaz, speaking the words with spite. "Phoenix." Riaz herself had hated this man. Riser then spoke, it's been so long since Riser has come to the human world. Oh Rias. Riser turns around and speaks as he walks towards her and holds her by the chin. So Riser hopes you are ready to get married. The growl could be heard on Ria's expression as they soon take a seat and Riser starts groping Rias much to her disgust as he demands, low class, get me some tea. Riser's demands were only met with a nod by Akeno as she walks out. A part of her wishes to poison him, but she had to comply with his orders. Issei looked at the scene with anger in his eyes as he hated what was happening to his best friend. Time passed and Akeno brought some tea as Riser took a sip of it. He then complimented the tea made by the Thunder Priestess, it's pretty good. Thank you. Akeno responded as she walked out of the room. Rias kept groping him endlessly, however, once Rias has had enough, she pulled away from Riser and spoke, that's enough Riser. I am not marrying you for our house's sake. Come on Rias, you know pure-blooded devils are at an all-time low. Riser responded as he continued, the House of Grimory and the House of Phoenix will join hands, and both of our houses will be better. No Riser, I prefer marrying for love, and I will maintain my house's reputation. Riser was starting to lose his patience as he started to raise his aura, with Rias doing the same as he spoke coldly, Riser won't let my house down for your spoiled tantrums. You will marry Riser, either by choice or by force. I stand by my decision, I won't marry someone like you. Rias retorted coldly as Siegfried and Jean were ready, but Issei stopped them as he muttered. Not yet. Issei looked at the scene as he brought out a bottle of pure liquid. This was holy water as he secretly used transfer on it to enhance the effects of the holy water. He looked at Siegfried who nodded, they only waited for the right time to put him in his place. They have done this to many stray devils before ultimately killing them, albeit this was going to be different, since one the humiliation is going to be unique and they can't kill him. He saw Grafia raising her own aura and reprimanding them to behave like high-class devils. Riser then asked. So this is your peerage, and are these three a part of it? Rias shook her head and nodded, no, these three aren't. Then you are going to lose big time. Riser soon summoned his peerage, which consisted of all of their members. This is Riser's entire peerage. Riser's peerage stays like this, all of them having a smile on their faces. Riser then speaks, can you beat this level? Issei notes on the girls, he wouldn't deny it, Riser has got some amazing taste in women, especially some of the girls, like Ubeluna for instance. Siegfried only looked at Riser and sighed, he is not surprised, almost all supernatural women are known to be vixens. Jean seemed unfazed by this, knowing these devils to amass many of these women as his harem. Ubeluna. Riser snaps his finger as his queen who walks forward as she asks, yes master, Riser starts making out with her as Rias glares disdainfully towards him. This was exactly why she does not want to marry him. He is a playboy who is arrogant and condescending with no empathy for others. She also sees him groping his breasts. He soon stops as claps were heard as everyone turned to see Issei clapping, he had a mocking grin on his face. Wow. You certainly love to have a dick measuring contest with others, Yakitori-san. Issei's words made the Phoenix peerage angry as Riser spoke, who the hell are you, you low-class being? Isseigojo, it is not nice to meet ya. Grilled chicken. Riser growled at the nickname as he continued, you insolent being. Mira. Mira soon jumped forward and attacked Issei with her pole, who only caught it with his bare hands and crushed it completely, much to her shock and horror. He soon followed it up with a punch to her nose, sending her flying, knocking her to the building. Is that all? Yakitori Issei turned to his friends and gave them a nod as he spoke, I am disappointed at how weak you are. Riser growled in response. Why you? Grafia was about to step in, however Rias stopped her, she shook her head as she saw Riser charging at him, ready to incinerate him only for Issei to grab his hand and twist it behind, followed by him putting his leg on his back, he was in a trapped position. His peerage tried to assist him, but Jean immediately used her sacred gear, Blade Blacksmith, and created a wall full of holy swords, causing them to back away due to the holy sword wall that Jean had created. Stay right there. And worry not, I will remove the swords once we are done with Riser. The Phoenix peerage was not happy with this, however they were helpless and unable to move. Those like Grafia that did not know about Jean's Blade Blacksmith were surprised at first, but she understood this, she turned her attention to Issei as Riser tried to incinerate him only for his flames to stop dead in its tracks. So that is what you did, Issei? Rias spoke as Grafia asked, is that limitless? Yes Grafia, an ability Issei was born with. Trust me, this is one of the reasons why Issei was one of the, no, if not the strongest exorcist out there. That is not even mentioning the other abilities he can do with Limitless and 6 Eyes, another trait he was born with. Grafia asked in response. Those blue eyes? Rias nodded as she spoke, yes, 6 Eyes allows Issei to have extrasensory perception. This includes seeing the flow of magical energy in extreme detail and the ability to use that flow to read magic spells or abilities. The eyes also allow for ultra-precise control over Issei's magical energy, which is indispensable for properly utilizing the limitless technique. Grafia nodded, as she knew that Issei was a force to be reckoned with. The man was able to spar with Surziches till a standstill, even in his true form. They are glad he is an ally and a good friend. They watched as Riser was unable to burn him in any way, as Issei used his free hand and poured holy water on Riser's face, making him scream in pain. The Phoenix Peerage were wanting to help him, especially Ravel, but with the holy swords they were unable to do so. Siegfried, you have some chicken feathers. Siegfried nodded as he brought out some of them. Issei brought out a glue and stuck them to his buttocks and head as he spoke, look, it's an actual chicken. Riser tried to burn the feathers, but Issei did not let that happen. Riaz and Akeno couldn't help but snicker at Riser's fate, as even Kaneko and Kiba had a smile. Issei turned to Jean and she nodded. She lowered the holy swords as the Phoenix Peerage looking in horror. Some wanted to help, but Issei's cold gaze made them unable to do so. Hey Phoenix Peerage, say hello to the Phoenix chicken. Now for sale. Issei spoke with a mocking tone as Riser was seething in rage, the pain from the holy water and this humiliation. Riser was going to make them pay. He soon kicked him to his peerage and spoke. Take him away and don't bother getting your ass back here. Riser grumbled as he shouted with pure fury, Riser will make you pay, you damned low-class being. Riser teleported out of there as Grafia approached him and smacked him on the forehead. Was pouring holy water necessary? You know it was dangerous and don't think I did not notice you using your gear to enhance the effects. Ouch. Issei rubbed his head as he retorted, Grafia, but Issei was unable to continue when Grafia gave a glare at Issei, making him shudder as he spoke to defend himself. But, you know that I only wanted to humiliate him, he was really getting on my nerves, cut me some slack, please. Issei spoke as he rubbed his head. He was not scared of her, but Grafia for some reason did unnerve him a lot. Grafia looked at him and gave a sigh. There was nothing she can do to get rid of his minced. She then spoke. Either way, at least you did not kill him, lest the whole Phoenix clan comes behind you. Issei moved his arms and spoke with a cocky manner. They worry not, if they know what is better then they know to not bother my business. Issei spoke with a shrug as suddenly he got a call from Gabriel. An angelic magic circle was there near his ear. Oh, it seems like Gabriel is calling me, see ya. Issei teleported out of there, as some others sighed knowing that he is the type that likes doing what he wants and will do anything for others, especially for Gabriel. That's just how Issei is. He will always put others first. Speaking of which, why is Gabriel calling him anyway? Jean asked as Siegfried spoke. I have no clue, I believe it is something important. So Grafia, when is the raiding game? Since this is what would happen next. Grafia looked at Siegfried and spoke, I will speak to Lord Surziches and inform as such. Siegfried nodded as they all watched Grafia teleport away, as he soon rested himself on the couch, as Kaneko spoke, I took pictures, President. Send it to me, I am definitely going to hang that in my personal room. Scene change. 30 minutes earlier. Rooftop, Kuo Town, 2:30 p.m. Gabriel was standing on the rooftop of the Hyoudou residence as she was waiting for someone to show up. She wore a small t-shirt and track pants, along with heels. Time has passed as soon enough, someone showed up on the rooftop. She was described to be a woman that had silver eyes with a hint of blue and a shen blonde hair. She wore a traditional nun's clothing which comprised of a long black tunic, black robe, belt paired with an apron-like scapular, veil, wimple, nun clothing. This was Marana Shadorova. Lady Gabriel. Gabriel turned around to see Marana as she spoke with a smile, it's been a while Marana. Indeed it has, and I am here because. Gabriel narrowed her gaze as she spoke, let me guess, Michael wants a report about the situation. Yes, Lady Gabriel. And Gabriel cuts her off and speaks, don't blame yourself Marana, you, Tosca and Lint are one of the few I can trust and have complete faith in. I can make the report, just give me a day or two. Gabriel spoke with a smile as Marana nodded, someone then spoke surprising both of them. Or how about right now, Marana? The one who spoke caught Marana off guard as she was surprised to see Issei here. She was also one of the few that was also against his excommunication, since she along with Gabriel used to often heal his wounds when he does get injured from his exorcist missions. Been a while, my little nun. Issei spoke as he ruffled her head making her surprised by the fact that Issei was in the same town as Gabriel was in. She had a red tint as she spoke, brother Issei, would you? Nah, I like it when you act like this, Marana. Gabriel looked at this and had a pout on her face. Marana did not protest as she continued to have a red tint, she was reserved and a very shy person. She waited for Issei to put his hand down as he brought out a report as he spoke. This should satisfy Mikey up there. And I presume he must have figured out that me and Gaby-chan are in the same town. Marana took the report as she asked, "Brother Issei. Dost call me Issei, or Ice, never was a fan of church customs." Marana nodded as she looked at the report and became horrified as she asked, "Gabriel is here." "Yeah, this should probably get Michael off Gabriel's back, and the less he annoys me the better. I really don't want to deal with him." Gabriel lost her pout and kept her hand on Issei as Marana nodded in understanding and responded, "I see. Very well, thank you Ice." Marana heads out of there as Gabriel spoke, "So how did it go?" "The grilled chicken meeting, I had my fun dealing with him. And I am glad that Marana is here, it's been years since I have seen her, and it is better than someone like Dulio or Griselda, they would have really annoyed me a lot." Gabriel sighed in response as she spoke. "I guess. Do you think Marana should leave the church too?" Issei shook his head and spoke, "It is her choice, Siegfried and Jean left on their own choices and came with me. Honestly, if this goes on, I won't be surprised if the church ends up making another mistake." Gabriel had a solemn look on her face as she held Issei's hand and spoke, "Yeah. I fear that, I wonder if I will ever bring the church back on how Father intended for me to do so. Truth be told, I know you will do a good job in bringing the church back on how it is supposed to be, but you got to do some changes, really big changes." Issei did not want to upset Gabriel again with his words, as he promised to keep a check on them to make sure that he does not break her heart in any way. He remembered on her telling him that how much she missed her father, the biblical God. Sure, he was not a perfect being, but he tried his best to be a good person. She was devastated when he died, yet she did not hold any hatred towards the ones that caused the war. He pulled her towards him, making her smile as he rubbed her hair off her face as she spoke, "Knowing you Gabriel, I believe you will do a good job." Gabriel nodded as the couple went inside to have some time together and plan on what should happen next. "That's it guys. I know, it's pretty short. Well, with that, we just have to wait for the author update. With that, take care.